Thank you. In today's topic, so timers is done. So we have completed the timers and all, right? So actually here I wanna tell one thing to you. Let me open the yesterday script. Timers. To give the waiting time, so you can use flow control action as well. Let me show you. Okay, so you no need to use the timers. You can add flow control action. There will be a sample, right? So that also you can use. Let us assume I have nothing added, right? So synchronous timer I am talking. I want to give some breathing time in between the request here. So request 1, request 2, request 3 we have, right? After execution of request 1, I need to give some breathing time, right? So think time I should give. So alantappudu, so you can go with the think time, like right click on that and mouse around to that. Here you can see timer and you can add the timers, right? So ala kaakunda kuda you can do one thing. So right click on the thread group, mouse around to that. Here you can see sampler. Here you can see flow control action. So using this also you can give a think time. Click on this one. You can see flow control action is added here. So you need to drag this and drop below the request one. Okay, so why I need to drop here means after completing the request one, I need to give some breathing time. So therefore this flow control action whatever I have been placed here, so this will act like a think time. So I can rename it as a think time. Okay, so here you can see logical actions on thread. Here you can click on the pause and provide a duration, how much duration you are going to pause your execution. I am going to pause 5000 milliseconds, that is 5 seconds. So once this request got executed, so then think time, this particular request can be executed. You can see in this request I have given waiting time 5000. So therefore JMeter it will wait for 5000 milliseconds, that is 5 seconds it will wait. So then request number 2 and request number 3 can be executed. So click on the view registry, clear your data, click on the play button. Let's see now. See, first request is executed. So after the execution of the first request, so so JMeter it will execute the think time, and here I have given 5000 milliseconds. So therefore it will wait for 5000 milliseconds, that is 5 seconds. So then request number 2 and 3 can be executed. So if you want you can see over there. So clear your data, add one more think time. So I am going to add one more think time. Okay, I am going to add in between 2 and 3. Okay, I have added, see, HTTP request 1, think time, HTTP request 2, think time, HTTP request 3, like that I have added, so 2 think times. Click on the play button and see now. So first request is executed. See, second is not executed, it is taking some time. Why? Because we have given the think time here, so that can be executed, so think time I have given 5000 milliseconds, that is 5 seconds. You can see after 5 seconds request number 2 is executed. Again you can see think time I have given, so how much I have given 5000, so that is 5 seconds. So this can be executed. So after 5 seconds request number 3 can be executed. You can see here 1 2 3, there is no think time request and all. I have given 2 think times over here, right? So that is not the request, that is the sampler, right? That is the sampler, and we are considering that as a think time. Okay, I have added the flow action controller. I am considering that as a think time by providing by selecting this pause radio button, and I am giving the duration as 5000 milliseconds I have given here. So based on your requirement you can give anything. Okay, so this is the second method, so how we can give the think time in the JMeter script and all. You can follow in your own approach. Okay, you can use this flow control action or else, so we have the timers. So you can use the timers and you can give the timer in your JMeter script. So like that you can give. Okay, so I forgot to tell yesterday, so today I told you. Okay, go to the new script. So coming to the today's topic, types of performance testings and scenario design. How many types of testings we can execute in JMeter? Okay, so let me tell you that. So types of testings. So for whatever we have been discussed, that is related to scripting. So from today onwards we are going to discuss about testing, like how we are going to test is how you are going to execute that particular script, how many types of testings we have. So those things we are going to discuss now. We are in execution phase now. Okay. So first one, so baseline test. Okay. Second one, smoke test. Third one, load test. Fourth one, endurance. Fifth one, spot test. Let me go with stress test. Stress test. And spike test. Benchmark test. And failover testing. Okay, so these are the main important performance testing types. Okay, so you need to remember these many types of testings and all. So in the interview, people they will ask you how many types of testings you are aware. Okay, how many types of performance testing you have been executed so far, like that. The people they will ask you in the interview, or else directly they will ask you what is baseline testing, why we need to run baseline testing, when we will run baseline testing. Okay, so smoke test you can ignore it, not an issue. Okay, so what is load test, how you can execute the load test, like that people they will ask you. Let me go one by one. So first one is baseline test. So why baseline test is required? So actually baseline test also you can ignore. This is not actual type of testing, but I have been considered as a types of performance testing here, performance test. So why I have considered this as a type of performance test, in the sense whenever you do not have the proper requirement in terms of the response times and all, so then you need to consider this baseline test and you need to execute the baseline test. Okay, let me tell you the significance and all. So whenever you do not have the requirement, let us assume you need to launch your application. Okay, how much time it can take? So that can take so it can take like 1 second, or it can take 2 seconds, or it can take 3 seconds. Okay, so anything it can take, but your client, he will give the requirement saying that launch should be done in 2 seconds or in 1 second. That is the requirement given by the client, right? So let us assume, so we have the scenario. Okay, so client is given for the launch, so 1 second is given for the login, 2 seconds is given. Okay, so like purchase 2 seconds is given, and sign out. Okay, sign out 1 second is given. So this is defined by the client. So already you are having the requirement and all, so you no need to execute the baseline test, right? So whenever you do not have the requirement like this in terms of the response times, so this is the response time related to launch. This is the response time related to login, and this is response time related to purchase, right? So like that, for each and every transaction we are having SLA now. We are having the requirement now. So therefore, you no need to go with the baseline test. Okay, already we have the requirement here and we have the clear requirement. So therefore, you no need to run the baseline test. Directly you can go with load test and all, or else you can go with smoke test and all. Okay. So when we run the baseline test, whenever we do not have the proper requirement in terms of the response times. Okay, so launch and separate execute avali, login and separate execute avali, purchase and second execute avali. So there is no such kind of requirement. So that is not given by your client and all. So in such scenario, so you can go with the baseline test and you can execute the baseline test. Okay, so how we can execute the baseline test? Okay, so baseline test in the sense you need to execute your script, your JMeter script with a single user. Okay, again I am telling you need to execute your script with a single user for single iteration. Okay, you need to apply single user, right? You need to iterate your script for the single iteration. So then you can get the statistics. Let me show you. So let us assume, let me open any script parameterization. Okay, let me go with this. You can see here we are having 4 transactions: launch, enter the store, sign in and sign out we have, right? So now I do not have any requirement from the client. Okay, I have prepared the JMeter script and I am not aware the response time for launch, enter the store, sign in and sign out. So ఎంత సేపటి లోపల అది ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవ్వాలి. So that is not given by the client. So launch కి 1 second లేకపోతే enter the store 2 seconds sign in 2 seconds sign out 1 second. So he is not given anything to me. Okay, so then how I can consider? Okay, so how I can consider the response times and all? Then so what we need to do? We need to run the baseline test, right? So baseline test, how we can do? Go to the thread group and put only single users over there, right? So loop count you need to give as a 1. So we are going to execute the test with a single user for the single iteration. So click on the view results tree. Before that, right click on the thread group, mouse around to the add the summary report or aggregate report. So any one thing is fine. You can add the summary report or you can add the aggregate report. Anything is fine. Here you can see response times and the average response time, right? So in aggregate report also you can see the average response time. So that's why you can add either summary report or aggregate report. Anything is fine. So now click on the play button. Okay. Now here you can get the response times and all. Okay. So let us wait. See, your test is completed and you got the response times here. Average response time you can see here in this row, right? So ఈ రోలో మీరు చూడొచ్చు average response time for launch 4153 is the average response time. Sign out you can see 549 is the response time, and this is also sign out. So sign in you can see 188 is the response time. Enter the store 182 milliseconds is the response time. So like that, so you can derive one figure by running a baseline test, right? So let me clear the data and click on the play button. So run 2 to 3 times and see. Okay, see now the response times are less. So you can see 809. Clear your data, click on the play button. This time we will see how much we can get. Okay, see 700 we are getting. Click on the play button. Okay, 700. So last time also we got 700 only. Click on the play button. You can see 800. So it is varying, right? So it is varying under 1 second. So therefore what I can do, I can consider this launch transaction response time as 1 second. Okay, this is equal to 830 is nothing but equal to 900 milliseconds. So you can consider 900 milliseconds or you can consider 1 second. Okay, you can consider 1 second. So ఎలా తీసుకుంటాను అప్పుడు launch equal to 1 second అని రాసుకుంటాం, right? So actually this launch can be taken so 1 second or 2 second or 3 second so that can be decided by your client. But in our case the client is not provided anything for us. Okay, client is not provided anything. Okay, so he doesn't know about the response times and all. Okay, how much time the launch can take, login how much time it can take, purchase how much time it can take, like that he do not aware about that. So therefore we are going to derive this particular response times and all. Okay, so how we are deriving? So we are going with a single thread. Okay, we are applying single thread here and we are running for the single iteration, right? So whatever the average response times we have achieved here, you can consider those as a SLA. For launch you can consider 830 milliseconds as a SLA, right? Enter the store you can consider 210 milliseconds. Sign in you can consider 207. So like that, so you can take the response times from here and you can consider that as a SLA. Okay, so like that we will run the baseline test. So I can say whenever we are not having the requirements for the response times and all, okay, at the time we can run the baseline test. So as part of baseline test what we will do, we will apply the single user on the application and we will run our script for the single iteration. So whatever the average response times we are seeing in the summary report or in the aggregate report, so we can consider those as a SLA. Okay, this is how you need to tell in the interview. So that is about baseline test and how we can design that scenario, right? So how we are designing? So to design the baseline test you need to apply single user here and single iteration you need to iterate. That's all, right? So this is how you can design. Go and click on the play button, the test it will go. That's all. Okay, so that is about baseline test. And coming to second one, smoke test. This is not actual test. Smoke test is not actual test, right? సో మరి ఎందుకు రన్ చేయాలి? సో దెర్ ఈస్ నో రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఫర్ ద స్మోక్ టెస్ట్ అండ్ ఆల్. మీకు ఎవడు చెప్పడు స్మోక్ టెస్ట్ రన్ చేయి లేదా బేస్ లైన్ టెస్ట్ రన్ చేయి అని. ఓకే, నోబడి టెల్ యూ, రైట్? సో నోబడి టెల్ యూ. ఓకే, సో మనకి ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది స్మోక్ టెస్ట్ రన్ చేసుకోవాలనేది? అప్ టు యూ. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ అప్ టు యూ. స్మోక్ టెస్ట్ రన్ చేసుకోవాలా వద్దనేది దట్ ఈస్ అప్ టు యూ, రైట్? Before going to begin the match, so we are aware about cricket match and all. So before going to start the main match and all, people they will go and they'll stand, they are going to play, right? They are going to practice in the nets and all. So before test game start అయ్యే ముందు వరకు they are in the ground and they are going to practice over there, right? So like similarly, before going to run your main test and all, main load test, so before going to run your exact whatever the test it may be, so before going to start either load test or endurance test, or I can say load test, so before going to execute your actual load test, so then you can go and you can run the smoke test, okay, to check it out, so whether your script is working fine or not, okay, or you are getting any errors or not. So that we need to check it out before going to run your actual load test. So for that purpose we will run the smoke testing. Okay, smoke testing, so to make sure so whether your script is working fine or not. Okay, so you need to verify by keeping a multiple number of users, let's say 10 users, 20 users, like that you can apply and you can run for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like that you can run, right? So there is no specific criteria for this smoke testing and all. Okay, you can apply any number of users and you can run for any duration, that is up to you. This is not the actual test. Okay, so this is for ourselves. We need to make sure my script is working fine, so to ensure that I am going to run the smoke test. Okay, so that you can remember. So as part of smoke testing, let us assume this is my JMeter script. I want to verify, right? In some scenario, right? So you are applying only one user and you are executing your JMeter script. It is working fine. So whenever I am going with multiple users, like I am putting 10 users here and I am going to click on the play button. So there might be a chance to get the errors. Okay, in some scenarios you can get the errors and all. So the issue might be with the test data, or issue might be with the code, issue might be so multi-threading. Okay, multi-threading concept also will be there. Okay, so what is multi-threading concept in the sense? So whenever you are running your script with multiple number of users, so multiple threads can be established at the backend. So that should be enabled by the Java developers. If they haven't enabled that particular feature at the backend, so your script it will work for either one user or two users. If you are increasing more than that, so you can get all the failures. Why? Because multi-threading concept is not enabled at the backend in Java. So then we need to ask the dev team, saying that please enable this multi-threading. Have you enabled or not? We need to ask them to enable it. Why? Because so without enabling that, we cannot run the threads in parallel. Okay, sir, any threads run cheyalante you cannot run. Okay, so that also you need to remember. Okay, so మనం ఇవన్నీ చెక్ చేసుకోవాలి అంటే so you need to run the smoke testing, right? So to make sure whether our script is working fine or not with the single user for the single iteration, for the multiple user for the multiple iterations, so our script is working fine or not, that we need to cross check before going to start the actual testings and all. So that type of testing we will call as a smoke testing. Okay, so you can go with any number of users, you can go with any number of iteration, or you can go with any specific duration. Okay, smoke testing మీరు ఎలా అయినా డిజైన్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. So you can apply any number of users over here. So you can give any loop count here. You can give 100 or you can give 50, or else you can check this infinitive and you can enable this thread time, and you can give any duration out there. So like that you can design. Okay, so this is not దీనికి specific criteria అంటూ ఏమీ ఉండదు. Okay, so yourself you can design your own own model for this smoke testing. So next one, load testing. This is very very important for each and every application. The load test will be there. So without load testing, so trust me, there is no performance testing at all. Okay, so what is load test? How we can do the load testing, right? So load testing in the sense, whatever whatever the expected load will be there by the client. Let us assume client is given like 2000 users. So that is the expected load by the client, right? So that is the expected load given by the client. So what we need to do, we need to apply 2000 users load on the application and we need to check it out, right? I already told you where you can apply the load, how you can apply the load and all. So this is the thread group. So this is the place where you can apply the number of users and all. The client is given the requirement like 2000. So what you can do, so you can put 2000 over here, right? According to that you can calculate the ramp up as well, right? So ramp up kuda meeru 2000 users ki ela calculate cheyalo, so you know that, and you can calculate and you can put the ramp up over there. And so most of the time, so you can run the load test either half an hour or 1 hour. Okay, so most of the scenario, so we can run the load testing for either half an hour or 1 hour. Maximum number of cases we'll go with 1 hour. Some scenarios, the client directly he will ask you to run the load test for 2 hours, 3 hours like that. If they have been given the instruction like that, then you can choose as per their input. వాడు 2 అంటే మీరు 2 గంటలు, 3 అంటే 3 గంటలు రన్ చేయండి. సో ఇఫ్ దే హ్యావ్ నాట్ గివెన్ ఎనీ స్పెసిఫిక్ డ్యూరేషన్ అండ్ ఆల్, సో దెన్ యూ కెన్ చూస్ either half an hour or 1 hour. 1 hour is appreciable duration, right? So you can choose 1 hour as a duration and 2000 users as a load. So you can run the test. So such kind of load testing, such kind of testing we will call as load testing. Okay, so what is load test? So as per the client requirement, whatever the load will be there, so that load we need to apply on the application and we need to run our test for specific duration, let's say 1 hour, 2 hours like that. So that kind of test we will call as load testing. So this is pakka. This is for for each and every application we need to run the load test and we need to verify so whether our application is performing well under the load or not. So we need to determine the application performance under the expected load. Okay, so the expectation, it may vary. Some people they will ask you to test so with 2000, some people they will ask you to test with 500 users, some people they will ask you to test with 300 users. So who knows? So based on your client requirement, so we can apply the load on the application and we will check the application performance, or we will determine application performance so by running like almost 1 hour like that. Okay, so that kind of testing we will call as a load testing. Okay, so manam load anedi ela decide cheyali ante that is given by your client. I already told you, so that is given by your client. That is the requirement, one of the requirement we are going to gather as part of requirements gathering. Okay, so we need to gather so under how many number of users we need to determine the application performance. Adi manam vaanni adagali. So వాడు అడిగితే మనం అడిగితే so they will give you. Okay, so that you need to derive the parameter from them. So వాడు ఇవ్వలేదు, he said like I am not aware like నాకు తెలీదు ఎంత నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ యూజర్స్ రావచ్చు అని అంటే, so then you can reach out to business team. So in each and every team the business people will be there. So you can call them like business analyst. You can reach out them and you can ask them to provide one number, expected number. Business analyst, they are having some knowledge on the application and all. From the business perspective also they are having the knowledge. So therefore we need to reach out to the business analyst and we need to ask them to provide so what is the expected number of users you are expecting. So that you can ask them to provide. Okay, they'll give you. Okay, so definitely the people they will give you. Okay, so as per the client requirement, with 200 aina, 300 aina, 5000 aina, whatever the number it may be, whatever the expected number will be there, so that expected number, so you need to put over here as a number of threads, calculate ramp up according to that and go with specify thread lifetime and run for 1 hour duration. Okay, so this is the way how you can design the load test and all, right? So this is the way how you need to design. Okay, you need to remember definitions and all. Already I have given the PDF, right? So you can go on, you can buy heart from there. So what is load test? The people they'll ask you. Okay, so load test is nothing but so whatever the expected load will be there, so that expected load we need to apply on the application using thread group, right? So we need to apply in the application and we need to run for 1 hour duration, or else based on the client requirement, so we can run for the test. We can run the test for 1 hour or half an hour or something else. అలాగా రన్ చేస్తాం. అలా రన్ చేసేదాన్ని ఏమంటాం, we will call load testing. సో ఎందుకు రన్ చేస్తాం load testing అని అడుగుతారు. Okay, so why we need to run the load testing on the application? We need to check it out under the load, under the expected load, how our application is behaving, how our client application is behaving. So whether it is up to the mark or not, ప్రాపర్గా వర్క్ అవుతుందా లేదా, యాజ్ పర్ ద క్లయింట్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వర్కింగ్ ఆర్ నాట్. సో దాట్ వీ నీడ్ టు డిటర్మైన్. సో దాట్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ఫైండ్ అవుట్ హియర్ బై రన్నింగ్ ద లోడ్ టెస్టింగ్, రైట్? సో లోడ్ టెస్ట్ అనగానే మీకు మైండ్లోకి ఏం గుర్తు రావాలి, ఎక్స్పెక్టెడ్ లోడ్, దాట్ యూ నీడ్ టు రిమెంబర్. Okay, whatever the expected load it may be a 200, it may be 500, it may be 1000, it may be 10,000, it may be 1 lakh, not an issue. Whatever the expected load will be there, so that expected load we need to apply, okay, on the application using thread group, and we need to run for some duration. Okay, it may be like half an hour, and it may be 1 hour. Okay, so based on the client requirement, so you can run your test for specific duration. Okay, so enduku run cheyali ante, so in order to identify the application performance under the expected load by the client. Okay, మీ అప్లికేషన్ వర్క్ అవుతుందా లేదా అది మనం ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాలి అండర్ ద లోడ్. సో ఫర్ దట్ పర్పస్ we will run the load testing. And second one, endurance testing. Fourth one, endurance testing. Okay, so this is also very very important. So people, they will ask you, what is endurance testing, how we can design the endurance testing, why we need to run the endurance testing, or what is the significance of endurance testing. So like that people, they will ask you these 3 questions. Okay, so endurance testing, the significance of endurance testing is, so mainly 2 will be there, 2 points will be there here, 2 bullet points will be there. You need to remember those 2. So one is, we need to identify whether our application is available for the longer duration or not. Okay, so longer duration in the sense, under the load we are going to run test for the longer duration, let's say 8 hours, 12 hours, 1 week, 2 days, 3 days, like that. Okay, so I am going to run my application for the longer duration, and I need to verify so whether my application is stable under that load or not for the specific duration. నేను 2 hours అంటున్నాను లేదా 10 hours అంటున్నాను. సో 10 hours వరకు నాకు నా అప్లికేషన్ బాగా వర్క్ అవుతుందా లేదా. ఓకే, సో దాట్ ఐ నీడ్ టు ఫిగర్ ఇట్ అవుట్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఫస్ట్ వన్. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఫస్ట్ వన్. వీ నీడ్ టు ఐడెంటిఫై సో వెదర్ అవర్ అప్లికేషన్ ఈస్ అవైలబుల్ ఫర్ ద లాంగర్ డ్యూరేషన్ ఆర్ నాట్. సో అవైలబుల్ ఇన్ ద సెన్స్, I am running the JMeter test now. Let us assume I am running JMeter test for the endurance testing for 12 hours. Okay, so I am going to launch petshow.octopub.com. I am working on this petshow.octopub.com, and I am running this endurance testing on this one. Now I am trying to launch the application. I am not able to get the page like this. So what it means, so during the run we are not getting the expected responses and all. So that application is not working fine over there. Okay, so you can stop your test. Okay, so we need to see whether we are getting the expected response available for the longer duration or not. That we need to see. Ante failures ayipothunayante, you need to stop your test. So you are not getting the failures and all, so then leave it as it is. Okay, so you know how to validate your request response as well. So using assertions you can validate. So I told you, so you need to add the assertion for each and every request. I already told you, right? So మనం assertion add చేసుకుంటే, so so it will validate, and it will validate like you are getting the proper response or not. If you are not getting the proper response and all, it will throw an error. Okay, error percentage పెరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. So then you can see, okay, we are getting high percentage of the errors and all. So you can stop your test and you can say that your application is not available for the longer duration. It went fine, like let us assume 2 hours బాగా రన్ అయింది. After 2 hours we have seen the error percentage is increasing. So then you can say that ఇక్కడ చూడొచ్చు మీరు error percentage and all. Here you can see, right? So during the run, so you need to identify the summary report. You need to monitor the summary report. So whenever you are seeing like high percentage and all, immediately you can stop your test. Okay, so less than 1% is acceptable criteria for this error percentage. Okay, సో 1% వరకు మనము ఎర్రర్స్ని యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. బియాండ్ దట్ we do not consider the error percentage and all. We can say that the test got failed. Okay, whenever you are getting the error percentage is more than 1%, we can say that test was failed over there. Okay, so some scenario, some clients they do not accept 1% as well, they want 0% errors. Okay, errors ఉండకూడదు అంటారు కొందరు. Okay, but as per our standards, you can consider up to 1%. Less than 1% you can accept the test. So beyond that we do not accept it, we can consider it as a failure. Okay, so ఇక్కడ మనం చూస్తే తెలుస్తుంది. So whenever you are running the endurance testing and all, if you have identified the more percentage of errors like 20%, 30%, 40% like that, so you can stop your test and you can say that so we are getting the high percentage of the errors and all. So see, for first 2 hours your application is worked fine. After 2 hours we have seen that error percentage is increasing. Okay, so therefore I have been stopped the test and application is available for only 2 hours. After that it is not available. So like that we can say. Okay, so that is the first one. The second bullet point, we need to identify the memory leakages in the application. Okay, so memory leakage ante enti, ela identify chesam, so those things and all I will talk about here. Okay, whenever I am discussing about intro on JVM. Okay, so garbage collection ivanni cheptanu. This is performance engineering. So here I will talk about memory leakages and all. So right now just remember memory leakages, that's all. Okay, so endurance testing enduku run chestamu. First bullet point is we need to identify whether the client application is available for the longer duration or not. So that is the first point. Second point is in order to identify the memory leakages, so whether memory leakages are occurring or not, vastunnaya leda. Okay, memory leakage raagudadu. Okay, memory leakage vachindante, that is the issue, right? So we need to address that issue and all. Going forward you will come to know about that. Okay, these two things you need to identify. Okay, how we can identify? By running the endurance testing we will identify. Okay, so how you can design the scenario. Next one. Okay, endurance testing ante enti chusam, right? How you can design the scenario. Endurance testing ki load evadu ivadu. So load test ki, so the people they have been given 200 users for you, right? So 200 users are the expected users. So whatever the endurance testing load, so any client in adigavante one avutadu, so he can consider like, so you do not have any idea of the performance testing and all. So why? Because so endurance testing load can be derived by you only. You need to derive the endurance testing load. How we can derive? So you can consider 50 to 60% of the load. Okay, so 50 to 60% of expected load you can consider as expected. Okay, so load you can consider as a endurance testing load. Okay, what do you mean by this 50 to 60% of the load ante? So you can take any one of the number in between 50 to 60. So I am taking 50%, or you can take 55, or you can take 60%. Let me go with 60%. I have taken 60% here. 60% of expected load. Okay, so that is 60% means 0.6 into, so what is the expected load given by the client? So in our case expected load is 2000. So here 2000. So if you multiply that you can get 1200. So 1200 is the users. Okay, how much load you need to apply for endurance testing? 1200 users you need to apply. Okay, so 1200 users ni manam apply cheyali, and you need to run for the longer durations. Let's say 8 hours, 12 hours, 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, like that we can run, right? See, I have been associated with one of the biggest client, that is Geo Retail, Reliance Industries. So those people are psychos. They have been asked to run endurance testing for 1 week. So we ran endurance testing for 1 week. That is not at all required, but so we ran the endurance testing for first 8 hours. It went very fine. So there is no issues and all. Everything, our application is working very fine and all, right? So the people, we have presented those statistics and all to the client, Geo and all. They have been impressed with the statistics and all. So application is working very fine and there is no issues and all. Okay, so immediately at the end of the meeting they said like, why can't we run for endurance testing for 1 week? So that is not at all required. Okay, that is not at all required. Even 1% of the case also, it is not required. So but the client is very psycho client, and we need to accept. Why? Because they are paying the money and all, right? So they are giving the billing and all. So billing is like salaries and all, right? So they will pay the salaries to our company. Our company, they will pay the salaries for us on a monthly basis and all, right? So we need to accept there is no skipping over there and all. Okay, there is no drop from that particular suggestion or demand or command or whatever it may be. So the chance laid. Okay, we have accepted that one and we ran it. Okay, almost 1 week we ran. Okay, so we have monitored the test for one week. Okay, just ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళి టెస్ట్ క్లిక్ బటన్ కొట్టడము కూర్చొని చూసుకుంటా ఉండడం డైలీ, దట్స్ ఆల్. నథింగ్ ఇస్ దేర్, రైట్? డైలీ వీ నీడ్ టు సీ దిస్ యావరేజ్ రెస్పాన్స్ టైమ్స్, ఎర్రర్ పర్సంటేజ్ అండ్ ఆల్ వీ నీడ్ టు మానిటర్, దట్స్ ఆల్. Okay, so like that we ran endurance testing for 1 week as well, but that is not required. So maximum 8 hours or 12 hours, that is more than enough. Okay, so in interview some people they will ask you how many hours you can run for endurance testing and all. Tell them like 8 or 12 hours. Okay, that is acceptable duration for endurance testing and all. Okay, so we need to go with these figures. Okay, how we have been designed this to 1200 users. So this is the criteria, this is the formula for considering anything, not an issue. So in between 50 to 60 percentage, so pick any one of the number, right? So I have picked 60% here. 60 percentage into expected load, so 0.6 into, in our case 2000 is the expected users, so 0.6 into 2000, you can get 1200 users. Go to your JMeter, so click on the thread group, so put out 1200 here. Okay, so 1200 ఇక్కడ పెట్టండి. So according to this 1200 you can calculate the ramp up and you can put over here like 300 or something, and click on the specified thread lifetime and let's say 8 hours. So 8 hours means let us assume like something 27,000 something will be there. Okay, so 1 hour 3600 seconds will be there. Let us assume 10 hours anukunte, so 36,000. Okay, this is the time in seconds. So you need to put over there and just go and click on the play button, that's all. The test it will go for 10 hours. Okay, so with 1200 number of users. So this is the way how you can design the endurance testing. Okay, people they will ask you who will give the endurance testing load and all. Tell them like, okay, so like this you can tell them. And significance also, most of the people they will ask you enduku run cheyali anta sepu ani. Okay, you need to remember that as well. So next one, stress testing. Okay, so this is optional, like, so కొంతమంది అడుగుతారు కొంతమంది అడగరు. So from here, so these are all like optional and all. Stress testing, load and endurance testing almost pakka will be there. Okay, so లేదంటే stress కూడా pakka will be there, these three. Okay, remaining are all optional. What is stress test? Okay, so what is stress test? So మనం ఏదైనా పని చేస్తున్నాము, you are not able to do that. So some people they will tell you stress strain అవుతుంది అంటారు, right? So beyond our expectations we need to push over there, we need to hard work over there, right? So beyond the expectations we need to test the application and we need to see where our application is going to break. We need to find out the breaking point. See, you have tested your client application, you are working on something Flipkart application you are working on now, and client expectation is 50,000 users. So you have tested with 50,000 users, it is working fine. Okay, so everything, your response times అన్ని ఇలా ఉన్నాయి కదా, లాంచ్ 1 second ఉంది, లాగిన్ 2 seconds లోపలనే ఉన్నాయి, సో పర్చేస్ కూడా 2 seconds లోపలనే ఉంది, సైన్ అవుట్ 1 second లోపలనే ఉంది. సో ఎవ్రీథింగ్ యూ కెన్ సీ రెస్పాన్స్ టైమ్స్ అండ్ ఆల్ ఇట్ ఈస్ మీటింగ్ యువర్ SLA. ఈ SLA ప్రకారం అన్నీ మీట్ అవుతున్నాయి. ఓకే, సో SLA ఏంటి అన్నది మళ్ళీ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ గ్యాదరింగ్లో మనం చూసాం SLA అంతా. ఓకే, సో అవన్నీ మనకి మీట్ అవుతున్నాయి. సో మీ లోడ్ టెస్ట్ పాస్ అయిపోయింది. ఓకే, సో యువర్ అప్లికేషన్ ఇస్ వర్కింగ్ ఫైన్ అండర్ 50,000 users. So now what we need to do, so we need to find out the maximum capacity of your application. ఎంతమంది number of users ni, how many number of users your application can handle. It may be 1 lakh, it may be 2 lakh, it may be 10 lakh, it may be 30 lakh, who knows. We need to determine that. Okay, so how many number of users that particular application can handle, that also we need to determine. Okay, so maximum number of users, ఎన్ని number of users వరకు మీ అప్లికేషన్ సపోర్ట్ చేస్తుంది, సో దాన్ని మనం ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాలి. దాన్ని ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయడానికి సో యూ కెన్ గో విత్ ద స్ట్రెస్ టెస్టింగ్. వాట్ ఎవర్ ద లోడ్ ఫర్ దిస్ స్ట్రెస్ టెస్టింగ్. ఓకే, సో బియాండ్ ద ఎక్స్పెక్టేషన్స్ వీ నీడ్ టు ఇంక్రీజ్, వీ నీడ్ టు గో. సో బియాండ్ మీన్స్ దిస్ ఇస్ ద 2000 users, right? So increase 1.5 times. So 1.5 times 1.5x I can write out there. So 1.x and mean x means 2000. So 1.5 into 2000. How much you can get? So I think 3000, right? So you can apply 3000 users first. Okay, and test application behavior. And then if it is working fine, bagundi. Okay, again you are saying that everything is meeting. Like response times and correct ga meet అవుతున్నాయి. So launch 1 second లోపలనే ఉంది, login 1 second, 2 seconds లోపలనే ఉంది, purchase 2 second లోపలనే ఉంది, sign out కూడా 1 second లోపలనే ఉంది. So each and everything is meeting your SLA. So then so your application is working fine for 3000 as well. So then you can go with 2x load. Okay, so then check it out. Then increase 3x, then increase 4x, like that you can increase the load. ఎక్కడ దాకా ఇంక్రీజ్ చేసుకుంటా పోవాలి అంటే సో whenever you are getting the breaking point. So what do you mean by the breaking point? So breaking point in the sense, so whenever you are getting the error percentage, like 100% error percentage you are getting, I am getting 100% error percentage under the load, let's say 8000. Okay, whenever my load, I have applied 8000 users load over there, under 8000 users load I am seeing 100% errors here. Then I can say that so client, your application is not able to sustain under 8000 users load, or else up to 8000 users your application is working fine, beyond that it is not working. So like that you can say by running stress testing. పేర్లోనే ఉంది stressing, right? So we need to increase the load. So already we have been tested with 2000 users. From here you can increase the load like 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, like that. 2000, 4000, 6000, 7000, 8000, 9000, 10000, like that. Keep on, you need to increase the load on the application, and you need to check the application, the percentages and the application behavior we need to capture. So you need to consider only error percentage here. The error percentage మనకి ఎక్కువ వచ్చేస్తుంది, 80%, 90%, 20%, 90%, 100% అలా. సో 100% వచ్చే వరకు యూ నీట్ ఇంక్రీజ్ ద లోడ్ అండ్ యూ నీట్ చెక్ ఇట్ అవుట్. ఓకే, సో ఎందుకు మనము 100% పెట్టుకోవాలి లోడ్ అంటే, సో హియర్ అవర్ ఇంటెన్సిటీ ఈజ్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు టెస్ట్ ద బ్రేక్ పాయింట్ ఓవర్ దేర్. మీ అప్లికేషన్ ఎన్ని నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ యూజర్స్ వరకు సపోర్ట్ చేస్తుంది. సింపుల్గా చెప్పాలంటే వీఆర్ ట్రయింగ్ టు క్రాష్ ద అప్లికేషన్ ఎక్కడ క్రాష్ అవుతుంది. సో విత్ హౌ మెనీ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ యూజర్స్ అప్లికేషన్ ఈజ్ గోయింగ్ టు బ్రేక్ ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు క్రాష్. So that we need to find out by running stress test. Okay, so this is the stress test. First with 3000 users, then you can go your JMeter. So you can apply 3000 users over here, and according to that ramp up you can give and run for 1 hour duration, and run for 1 hour duration and see how you are getting error percentage and all. Then the 3000 users run చేశారు, your script is succeeded, your test is succeeded. So then go with 5000 users. Okay, so apply 5000 users here, and according to that you can calculate ramp up, and you can put the ramp up here and run for 1 hour duration. So like that you can run multiple testings, 3000 togoti, 5000 togoti, 7000 togoti, like that you can increase the load and you can test your application. Okay, so ఎప్పటి వరకు లోడ్ పెంచుతా పోవాలి మనము. ఓకే, సో ఎప్పటి వరకు పెంచుకోవాలి అంటే whenever we are seeing 100% errors, so then you can stop. అప్పటి వరకు పెంచుతానే పోవాలి. Okay, so that is how you can run stress testing on the client application. Okay, I don't want to run this many number of executions and all. ఇన్ని ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్లు నేను చెయ్యను, 3000తో ఒకటి, 5000తో ఒకటి, 7000తో ఒకటి. ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు రన్ దట్ మెనీ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్స్. నేను ఒకేసారి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు గో విత్ మల్టిపుల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్. ఫస్ట్ 1500 పెడతాను ఇక్కడ. Okay, I am going to run for 1 hour duration, and I am going to monitor the error percentages and all. Okay, here error percentage 0. So then what I can do, so let us assume 2000 పెట్టాను. So for 2000 we do not have any error percentage and all. Okay, error percentage లేదు, 0 ఉంది. So then what I can do, I can double it. So I can go with 4000 users, and I will run the test, and I can see, so 20% are the errors. Okay, so for 4,000 I am getting the 20%. So what I can do, I can go with 6,000 directly. Okay, and I can see for 6,000 I am getting 80% of the error. So then I can go with 7,000. Okay, 7,000 I can run it. I am getting 90,000, 90% of the errors. Okay, like this, step by step I'll increase the load and I'll so I'm going to run the test for 1 hour. First 2,000 1 hour duration, 3,000 1 hour duration, 7,000 1 hour duration, like that. We need to run multiple executions. So this is one scenario. నాకు ఇలా వద్దు మల్టిపుల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్స్ చేయకూడదు అన్నప్పుడు సో వీ నీడ్ టు యూస్ అల్టిమేట్ థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్. Okay, so using single scenario you can add the users at the middle. Okay, so but using this thread group you cannot add the users at the middle. మధ్యలో మనం యూజర్స్ని యాడ్ చేయనీయకుండదు. Whatever the number of users you have given, your test can be executed with the same number of users. So there is no option and all. Okay, so therefore this thread group you cannot use. ఓకే, అన్ని టెస్టులన్నీ మనం ఒకేసారి చేయాలా, టెస్ట్ 1 టెస్ట్ 2 టెస్ట్ 3 2,000 యూజర్ 3,000 యూజర్ 4,000 యూజర్ అలాగ మనం ఇప్పుడు దాకా స్టెప్ బై స్టెప్ చేస్తూ వచ్చాం. అలా కాకుండా అన్నిటిని మనం ఒకే టెస్ట్లోనే చేయాలా అంటే దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ పాసిబుల్ విత్ దిస్ థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్. సో దేర్ ఫోర్ వీ నీడ్ టు యూస్ అల్టిమేట్ థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్ ప్లగ్ఇన్. So where it will be there, ultimate thread group, you can see, right click on the test plan, mouse around to that, you cannot see the ultimate thread group over here. So that is the plugin you need to download and you need to install your that plugin in your machine. Okay, so let me show you how you can do that. So go to your Google. Okay, so go to Google and search for ultimate thread group plugin in JMeter. So you can search for that. I'll share this link. Okay, so click on this ultimate thread group JMeter plugin. Okay, so this is the place from where you can download ultimate thread group. You can see here download. Okay, link, you can click on that download. You will be redirected to the next page. Okay, so here you can see stepping thread group, ultimate thread group, concurrency and all. Okay, so here you can see download versions and all. Click on the latest version. The latest version is 2.10. You can click on this one. So that will be downloaded to your machine. So while downloading, sometimes it will ask you like keep or discard. So దీన్ని డౌన్లోడ్ చేయమంటారా వద్దా అని అడుగుతుంది. So click on the keep. Okay, so you can see here it is downloaded and that will be there in download section. Okay, that is in zip format. Okay, it's loading. Okay, you can see that is in the zip format. So we need to extract this one. So right click on that. Okay, so right click on that folder and click on the extract all. It is asking me to wait to extract. I am going to extract in the downloads itself. Okay, I am extracting here itself. I have extracted. Replace these files in the destination. Okay, so I am extracting the files and all. See, I have extracted. So this is the folder. Again, here you can give. Where is it? That went somewhere. Let me check it out. Let me change the location. Okay, right click on that. Extract all. So this time I am going to extract. No, let me extract on the desktop. Okay, so I have extracted that on the desktop. Where is the file name? What is the file name here? Downloads. JPGC. So go to desktop, JPGC. Where is the folder? JPGC. What is this? I have extracted here. It is not showing. JPGC. Yes, here we have lib, I think. Okay, so lib is there. I think it is, so lib loan anukunta maybe. Yes, here. Okay, so if you have extracted, you can see the folder like this, lib. Okay, so lib ane folder vastundi meeku. Okay, so lib ane folder vastundi. Double click on the lib, so you can see ext folder and you can see one jar file here, right? You need to remember these two. Okay, so let me go back to the desktop. You can see lib, right? So let me open the E drive in some other window. Okay, so some other window I have opened. This is my JMeter, Apache JMeter 5.5. You can see here lib folder. Okay, so lib folder here we have, here also we have lib, right? So lib చూడండి ఇక్కడ ఉంది మనకి JMeter లో, and I have downloaded one file that I have extracted. You can see lib folder, right? Double click on the lib folder here, so you can see ext and JMeter plugin and all. You copy this jar file. Okay, so copy this jar file, so that is there in the lib folder. You can see that is there in the lib folder. Go to your JMeter, so double click on the lib folder and you can paste over here. That's all directly. Okay, I have pasted the file here. You can see dot jar. Okay, so 0.6 dot jar. So like this, what you need to do, so you need to paste the files in the ext as well. So lib lo chudandi meeru, so I am in the lib folder here. So lib lo again you can see ext here. Double click on the ext, you can see two jar files, control A, control C. So these two files are there in the lib ext. Lib ane folder lo, ext ane folder lo unnai. Go to your JMeter. Okay, so go to your JMeter. So this is the lib folder. Double click on it and you can see ext here. Double click on the ext and here you can paste your two jar files. You can see 2.10, 1.6. I have copied those two things from here, 2.10, 1.6. So what it means, so lib లో ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి మూడు ఫైల్స్ ని you need to paste that in the lib folder, JMeter lib folder, right? First copy one file from here. Okay, so double click on the lib folder. You can see one jar file. Copy this one and go to your JMeter. So go to your JMeter. In the JMeter you can see lib folder here. You can paste directly here. Okay, so coming to the second one, so here you have ext folder. Double click on it. So here you have two files. Copy these two files. So those two are there in the lib folder, ext folder. Okay, so go to your JMeter. So this is the JMeter. So this is the lib folder. You can go into that and you can see ext. Double click on it and you can paste over here. That's all. దేంట్లో ఉండేది దాంట్లో paste చేయాలి. So you need to remember this. Okay, so follow the video and you can do that. Okay, so I have pasted those two things. Now I need to restart my JMeter, right? So restart chestene those changes can be applicable to existing JMeter. If not, it not. Okay, so let me restart my JMeter. Okay, so restart it. So if you restart it, you can see the ultimate thread 2 plugin and all. It is taking time to launch. Yeah, it is launching now. Okay, so right click on the tester plan, mouse under that. here threads, you can see ultimate thread group here. Okay, initially we do not have this arrival concurrency and all, so we have only thread do setup put here down. Okay, so now we have added the plugin ultimate thread group so that we are able to see these many thread groups and all, right? Click on the thread group, ultimate thread group. I have added ultimate thread group. Let me add a thread group, normal thread group, to differentiate between these two things. Okay, let me go with ultimate thread group. If you want to rename it, you can rename it. Okay, comments you can ignore it. Action to be taken after a sample error. Whatever the options here we are seeing, same options will be there in the thread group as well. Continue, start thread, start next thread loop, stop thread, start test. You can see the same thing over there, right? So coming to thread schedule. Okay, here you can see thread schedule, here you can see thread properties something. Thread properties here you can see both are same only. Okay, so here you can see start thread count. Start thread count is nothing but number of users in the thread group. Here you can see number of threads and number of users. Here you can call start thread count. Okay, initial delay here we have in the thread group also we have initial delay here startup delay. Okay, so those two are same. Next one, startup time. Startup time is nothing but ramp up time in the thread group. Okay, here we can call startup time and here you can call ramp up. Okay, those two are same. So next one, hold time. Hold time is nothing but duration here in the thread group. In the thread group we have duration, right? So here in the ultimate thread group we have hold load, nothing but duration. Shutdown, that is not there in the thread group. Okay, shutdown period is not there in the thread group. We have only ramp up we have. Okay, ramp down we do not have. You can consider it as a shutdown as a ramp down. Ramp up, shut up, start up is nothing but ramp up, shutdown is nothing but ramp down. Okay, so just click on the add row. You can see by default 100 users is added here. Okay, let me go with 1000 users. Initial delay 0 I have given. Let me give initial delay. You can see initial delay I have given 100. So what it means, you can see first 100 seconds the users is 0. The test it will wait for 100 seconds. So once the 100 seconds is completed, then you can see the users are started ramp. On y-axis you can see active number of threads. Number of active threads, what it means, the number of users. On x-axis you can see the time. Okay, so initial delay. This is the initial delay. You can put 0. Startup is nothing but ramp up. So you can calculate and let me give 3000. 30% in the sense like 300. Let me give 300. You can see. So 300 seconds ramp up I have given. You can see like this. Holding time I am giving like 10 minutes. Okay, so 10 minutes I have given, you can see. So holding time. Ramp down. However, you have given ramp up like similarly you can give the ramp down as well. Okay, so even increase IAT. Alage decrease చేసేదాన్ని కూడా you can call that as a ramp down and you can use shutdown time here. I am giving 100 seconds over there like this. Okay, see whatever the numbers you are giving, so that is showing in the graphical format here. Okay, so using this ultimate thread group, what you can do, so you can add number of users at the middle and you can drop the users at the middle. Users ni maddhalo add chesukochu, drop cheyochu. You can do anything using this ultimate thread group. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to start my test with 100 users. So then I need to run for 5 minutes. Then again I need to increase 100 to 200. Then I need to run for 5 minutes. Then again I need to increase from 200 to 300. So like that incremental fashion I need to run my test. Like in the మనం డిసైడ్ చేసాం కదా ఇక్కడ 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000, 6000 like that. So like that you can no need to run multiple runs over there. So you can design single scenario using ultimate thread group. How we can do? So consider like 100 users I am going to start, and startup delay time I am giving like ramp up I have given 30. Holding time I am running for 5 minutes. 5 minutes means 300 seconds. Okay, and shutdown also I am giving 30 seconds. Okay, ramp up and ramp down both I am giving as 30 seconds. You can see this is the first one. Now I am going to add the number of users here. Okay, so how many number of users I am going to add? 200 users I am going to add, where after 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I want to add. After 5 minutes in the sense like, 300 seconds, right? So 300 seconds tarvata నేను 300 seconds out there. So you can see first test started with 0 users and then you can see 100 users out there and test it ran for, how much duration? 5 minutes. And then you can see the load increased to 200. Already 100 is there. I have given 200. So 100 plus 200, 300. Now you can see the load on the application is 200, 300. Let me give as 100. Now you can see at the beginning 100 you can see. After some time you can see load is increased to 200. So ఇక్కడ కూడా మీరు startup I have given 30 and holding time I let me give again 300. Okay, so 300 ఇచ్చారు. బట్ ఎందుకు ఇక్కడ V shape వచ్చింది స్ట్రైట్ గా రాలేదు అంటే the users are going down here after 5 seconds, sorry 5 minutes, the users are decreasing over there. Okay, కాబట్టి spike we have been created here and spike కొద్ది ఇలా కంటిన్యూ గానే పోవాలి అన్నప్పుడు so what you can do, you can increase the time over here, holding time. You can see, okay, first I have started with 0 users and then 100, then I ran for some duration, then I have increased it to 200, then I ran for some duration, then I can increase the duration, sorry I can increase the number of users, then I can run for some duration, like that you can see. So ilaga users ni meer madhyalo add cheyochu, madhyalo decrease cheyochu, you can do anything, so using this ultimate thread group. Okay, so play with this so that you can get some knowledge on this. Okay, so give different inputs and see how your graph is showing the stats and all. Okay, graph lo statistics ela unnayani meer chuskuntarandi, it will give good knowledge to you. Okay, so using this ultimate thread group, so you can design stress testing and all. So instead of going with multiple runs and all, so we can go with ultimate thread group and we can design stress testing. Okay, so like that you can. And next one, spike test. Okay, so what is spike testing? Why we need to do spike? Payload on the spike. Okay, suddenly we need to increase the load and we need to check the application behavior. So why we need to go with the spike testing? So maximum number of cases only for the e-commerce applications we will run the spike testing. మిగతా వాటికి రన్ చేయం. Okay, only e-commerce applications, let's say like Myntra, Ajio, Flipkart, Facebook. Okay, so Tata Click, so Meesho, these are all the e-commerce applications. Okay, so వీటన్నిటి మీద మనం ఏం చేయొచ్చు, you can run the spike testing. Why we need to run the spike testing on those only అంటే we are seeing like flashpoint sale. Okay, in a particular hour so there will be a flashpoint sale. Let us assume now the time is 9 and 10 to 11 there will be a flashpoint sale. So whenever the flashpoint sale is going, so they will announce huge number of offers and all. So therefore the expected count is very high in that particular duration. So we need to create sudden spike in the load lo takani manam aa time ki load increase cheyali and you need to decrease the load and you need to run your test. How you can do? So you can design the same thing using ultimate thread group only. So using normal thread group you cannot do that. Let me see how you can do that. Okay, so sudden ga మనం ఏం చేయాలి, లోడ్ అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ చేయాలి and we need to see test is running. So we are going to run the test with 100 people and we are running for 5 minutes. 5 minutes test run చేస్తున్నాం as per the requirement. So I need to create one spike after some time like this. Sudden ga load పెంచాలి నేను, I need to run for some duration. So here let me hold load startup time 30 is given, hold time. See, like this. So suddenly I am creating the spike over there and I am running for some duration over there. Let me decrease the duration as well. So let me give 300. Okay, so sudden ga నేను లోడ్ అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ చేయాలి. సడన్ గా లోడ్ అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ చేశాను, లోడ్ I have doubled it. requirement is 100 users, I have doubled the users, right? After some time, I have started the test and test is running with 100 users. After some time, you can see suddenly I have increased the load on the application. I ran it for some time, and then again you can see the load I have been decreased from application, right? So let me you can see gradually I have increased the load on the application to 200, and then I ran for some time, and then you can see again the load is decreased from the application. So like this, suddenly you need to create the spike during the run, and you need to check the behavior of your application whether it is working fine or not during the run. So that kind of scenario we will call as a spike testing. Okay, so spike testing ఎందుకు చేయాలి అంటే, so due to sudden fall of the load on the application, suddenly the load is falling here. This is not the expected load. So this suddenly the load is falling on the application, right, without having any intimation and all. Okay, suddenly the load is falling, so therefore we need to check it out. So with the sudden fall of load on the application, whether the client application is stable or not, that we need to see. Okay, so for that purpose we will run the spike testing. Spike testing can be run on only on e-commerce applications most of the time, right? So this you can remember. And benchmark testing. Okay, so these two I'll tell you tomorrow. It can take another 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so tomorrow I'll continue this benchmark and failover testing. Okay, I'm stopping here for the day. Anything from your end you can ask me now.